Hello everyone, thanks for stopping by. My name is Jim Falk with trailgear.org. In this quick video I'm going to give you a demonstration of how to assemble and put your wicky-do alcohol stove together. When you receive the stove from us, it'll be in a box. Take it out of the box. It'll have a rubber band around it. Take the rubber band off. Remove the pot stand. Take the lid off. Remove the wicks. And remove the protective tape around the side. This is here to protect it from scratching so the pot stand doesn't scratch it. Take the lid. Now the lid, you'll have a smooth rounded edge which goes down and a kind of a sharp edge which will go up on the stove. Make sure you thread the wicks through the stove properly. Sharp edge up, rounded edge down. Take your wicks and thread them into the bottom. Like so. Now your pot stand, you'll need to bend over the tips into a U so that it interconnects into itself for a secure pot stand. You don't want the tips to be too tight because this is not a permanent connection. You want to be able to disconnect it for storage around the stove when you're packing your gear. So bend them in a slight U, and when you put the stove together, make sure the pot stand is large enough so that it just fits inside the inner lip of the burn chamber. Now there's two configurations for this stove. You can use it as an open burner with no wicks, and it would be like a traditional cat stove. In that type of setup, you do not put water in the water well. You leave the water well dry. Pour in your denatured alcohol, 2 or 3 tablespoons. Light it, drop on your pot stand, and then put your cooking pot on top. This setup is an open burner design. It will boil 2 cups of water in 5 to 6 minutes. It's a good quick burn system. If you use the stove in its original design, which is a wick burning stove, you will fill the outer chamber or the water well with water, and basically you can just kind of squeeze the edges together a little bit like this to make it easier to pour in your water. And then drop in your fuel, which would be like 2 tablespoons of denatured alcohol. I've been able to cook meals on only 1 tablespoon of denatured alcohol with this setup. That's what makes the stove so good. After you fill the outer chamber with water, the burn chamber with your denatured alcohol, you drop in your wicks, put the top on the stove, and then take your pot stand, hook it, and it should sit just inside the top lip of the can. See this little ridge right here? This thing will sit just inside that so that it won't slide off and it'll be secure. Now, using this setup, this is an excellent cold weather, high altitude stove. Problem with alcohol stoves in cold weather is the alcohol doesn't vaporize fast enough for the burning process to really be efficient. With this stove, it's like a candle. As long as the candle is burning, this stove can cook, can boil water, you can medium cook, and you can slow cook with it. So it's an excellent cold weather, high altitude stove. One last thing you must do is when you fill the burning chamber with denatured alcohol, it may take a little time for the alcohol to be absorbed up into the wicks. So always prime your wicks. Take some denatured alcohol, a couple drops, and drop it. A couple drops on each one of the wicks prior to lighting. So you always want to prime your wicks. Light it, drop on your pot stand, Put your cooking pot on top, and you're cooking. It's a good idea to have a windscreen. What I do is I take a piece of tin foil, about 20 inches long, and I'll fold it in half. And then the edges, fold them over 1 or 2 times to secure it. Then, when your stove's going, you'll wrap this thing around the stove. Keep the wind out. I always use the stove to help roll it up into a nice circle that will stand up pretty well. So basically, you'll get your stove going, put your cooking pot on top, take your pot stand, your windscreen, place it around the stove, and if you make it long enough, you can adjust it for bigger pots and smaller pots. And for storage, take your windscreen, and fold it a few times. Wrap it around your stove. Your pot stand. So, take the lid, and you can secure the whole thing with a rubber band. And this thing's small enough to fit in both my bushwhacker and my compact wood stove, if you want to use this as a backup alcohol stove. Weighs almost nothing. And it's not the smallest stove out there, but its weight is fairly light, and its dual-purpose design makes it a good stove. You can use it as an open burner. You could also use it as a wick stove. So there you go, the wicky-do alcohol stove. And basically you would take it like this and put it in your gear for storage. I'd like to thank you for stopping by. Have a nice day.